Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Players Only YouTube channel and welcome back to our Premier League predictions. Match week 26. Some teams playing more than that. It's getting really close to the end of the season now. And I tell you what, the title race is heading up and my predictions are struggling. So we're needing a good week this week coming up. Quickly before we get into it, guys, we've started the new membership, the starting 11 here in the Players End channel. I thought I'd drop it at the start of this video here. Join us, it's a small fee a month, exclusive videos coming out monthly, breakdown videos, early access to the podcast, and more perks will be coming along the way as well. So if you want to join and support the channel, that would be much appreciated. Looking back at last week's predictions, only added 5 of our prediction points from about 12 games which we predicted, which is not great at all. Takes that total to 165 now on the season. If you're somehow new to the channel towards the end of the season here and you're wondering how a point system works, 3 points for correct scoreline, 1 point for the correct result, 0 points for neither. Really need to catch up. 165 total points. We're looking for 250 come season's end. It might be difficult to reach that mark if we continue going this way. So looking for a strong weekend of predictions. Some great games to come. Man City versus Liverpool, Nottingham Forest and Newcastle as well. Big games from this weekend's action. So I cannot wait to get into it. Let's go do it now. Premier League predictions, match week 26. Let's do it. The weekend kicks off on Friday night once more. Leicester City host Brentford. Massive games for both these two clubs, in particular Leicester. They come with the back of a disappointing 2-0 result. They held on towards the 80th minute and then bang, Mika Moreno compounds misery for the Foxes. It's now no clean sheet in 21 games. They've lost their last 5 games in a row at home. It's becoming a growing problem. They're not looking like they're going to keep themselves away from the drop zone. But a game like this can turn their fortunes around at home, turn around that bad run of form at home, get some belief back into this side here. And I think it'll be led by different areas of the park. I think the fullbacks for me, very important. Justin alongside Christensen as well. Players who have played under par, under their ability so far this season. Massive job to shut down the likes of Kevin Schade, even Brian Mbeumo on the flanks with their pace and their precision. Big games for those fullbacks. And then for me, you need people to support Jamie Vardy at top. I've been calling for it all season. It's not much has happened, but when Leicester have played well, El Khanous in particular, in behind the striker, creating opportunities, very tricky on the ball, he'll be very important again if they want to get a result here versus Brentford, who had a fantastic result of their own. A 1-0 away win against West Ham, continue to being a very strong away team this season. They've only scored 5 goals though in their last 5 games, so they continue to struggle in that end of the park. Goal scoring has been the problem, being hard to come by, but saying that 3 consecutive away wins coming to this game, so they're confident. They're coming in with the form, they're coming in with the belief, but the goals have just not been there. So it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a game of who can take their chances. For me, against a very vulnerable backline like Leicester, it's pretty simple. That front 3 with the pace they play with, Invista down the middle and Mbeumo on the right, Kevin Schade off the left, that's going to be super dangerous. If Shadar's got 2 goals in his last 4 games, he's an informed player. We know what Mbeumo's done already this season, double digits for his goals. And Johan Visser is a very form streaky player. So do not let them get a quick start if you're Leicester. And I think in transition though, these guys in the front 3 can cause Leicester all sorts of problems. That's why I see Brentford winning this game. 2-1 here for me. I think it's going to be a bit of a higher scoring game, which we're expecting. I think Brentford getting the score sheet early. They get a late winner, and that's the way I see this game going. The next game takes us to Merseyside. Everton host Manchester United. And boys, this is a massive game for Manchester, needing to bounce back. Everton in fantastic form. Came off the back of that 2-1 win at Selhurst Park. It's now 5 games unbeaten for the Toffees. David Moyes has got this team playing fantastic football. 9 goals in their last 5 games. Dealing with some injuries and some pretty serious injuries to this side very well. And they continue to be that attacking, momentum-based side. They gain moments in games. They use that momentum that drives them forward. Obviously, that crazy late equaliser versus Liverpool midweek last time out as well. They're just living off these moments and they're playing some fantastic football whilst doing it. So it's been a fantastic run from them. For me in this game here, I look to that midfield area, just a Gunnar Gay, James Garner, against a very slow, aging Manchester United midfield that is void of confidence because of injuries and movements around. I think that's where they can get the better of Manchester United. So look to those to the centre of the park to be those bullies, to get in control of the ball and get in control of this game at Goodison Park there. Looking at United, a 1-0 loss to Spurs. It's 3 losses in the last 5 Premier League games for the side. Only 5 goals scored in the last 5 games. A lot of problems going on at Old Trafford and with the Red Devils here. And I look at this side, there's not much chance creation going forward. There's vulnerabilities defensively. And as such, I see the 2 wing-backs as the key players in this game here. Patrick Dorgu looking okay so far in a Manchester United shirt, but Diogo Dalot has been someone who's underperformed, I think, over the last month or so. Look to those 2 to be the key players to shut down Everton's wide creators who are so important to their system, but equally important is show support for Bruno Fernandes, Joshua Zirkzee, Garnacho, Rasmus Højlund up top, who are so void of confidence. They are, especially that front 3, Zirkzee, Højlund, and Garnacho are struggling so much. They need all the help they can get. Those wing-backs can provide that support. So look to those guys to be super important for Manchester United. United have had some good history between the 2 sides. Not losing in the last 6 meetings between the 2 clubs, but I think that run comes to an end here. I'm backing Everton in at home with the greater form. A 2-0 win here for me against Manchester United. United just don't have the ability to score right now, and Everton, they're in some great touch. So I see them getting the win in this one here. We move down south as Bournemouth take on Wolves in our next game here. Bournemouth, fantastic run of form continues. A great 3-1 win away at Southampton last time out. It's now 14 goals scored in the last 5 games for the Cherries, winning 3 of the last 4 Premier League games. The record's moving in the right direction, and it's been built on great attacking football without some attacking players and, importantly, a striker. For me, Dango Ouattara will be important yet again. He's been fantastic in recent weeks. 8 goals and assists across his last 9 games in all competitions. He's been fabulous. Look to him to lead the line and be that dangerous figure against a very vulnerable Wolves back line. And I expect Christie alongside Adams to once again dominate the centre of the park. Those 2 have probably been man of the match in each of the Bournemouth's last 5 or 6 games. They've just been fabulous. So look to those 2 again to stamp their authority on this game here. Looking at Wolves, it was a difficult 2-1 loss last time at Anfield. They were competitive, but Liverpool just looked tired. They weren't at their best, and as such, it made it look like a bit of a closer game. But Wolves have got a bit of a problem. They had that win versus Aston Villa 2-0, but outside of that, they've really struggled both ends of the park, scoring goals and also defensively as well. Only 1 win coming in their last 5 games. And that win versus Aston Villa coincided with a clean sheet. The only clean sheet they've kept in their last 5 games as well. So it's a clear sign there. When they're going to be better defensively, they're going to be more competitive in games of football. As such, see that back 3 has been super important, especially versus Bournemouth and how well they play in the final third. So Totti, Agbadou, Doherty, as those 3 centre-halves, got to stay compact, got to deny spaces for the likes of Kluivert to work into. Dango Ouattara to get in behind, and most importantly, shut down Antoine Semenyo, because everything goes through him for Bournemouth, so he's been super important. So that back 3 for Wolves, massive importance. You keep Bournemouth to one or less goals, basically. They score 1 or more, game over. I don't think Wolves have the firepower to match it, and that's such to see Bournemouth win this game of football. 4-1 for me. I think they concede 1, but they'll put a lot of pressure on Wolves, and they'll smash them 4-1. Our next game is an all-London matchup. The Gunners, Arsenal, hosting West Ham United. Arsenal coming off a workmanlike, competitive 2-0 win away at Leicester, just keeping the pressure on Liverpool and making sure that gap gets smaller and smaller as the week goes on. 10 goals in their last 5 games. They're getting a little bit more confident in front of goal without a lot of their key players. Bukayo Saka is still the leader for the side and has a big chance created despite not being there for an extended period of time now. And again, Martin Odegaard hasn't been that player this season. So I looked at this game here and I looked at Ethan Nwaneri. The youngster's been that guy this season, coming off a 9 match rating in his last game. So important to that win versus Leicester. And his 4 starts, he's got 4 goal contributions. So he is so pivotal to this side here. A naturally talented player in the final third, an X factor, a difference maker. Look to him to try and break down this very defensive West Ham side and be the key player for Arsenal in this game here. Looking at West Ham, another tough loss, going down 1-0 at home to Brentford. A lot of improvement has to be made with this side here. It's now 4 games in all competitions without a win. They've struggled to break down sides, and they've struggled to be good enough defensively. No clean sheet in their last 8 games. There's just problems at all areas of the pitch. No clear centre forward. Jared Bowen not getting involved enough. And the back four and the goalkeeper, for me, just subpar. Not where they were in a few seasons prior. So a lot to improve for them. In this game here, it's going to be built on keeping it tight. Getting the itchy bum time going around the Emirates, because the it's a bit of a pressure cauldron at the Emirates. So if they can keep it tight for long periods of time, we've seen Aston Villa go there and do it. West Ham in years gone by have done it. Keep it tight. Make sure it's a 0-0. Come the 80th minute, you might be able to nick a goal on the break or just keep the point. Arsenal then haven't got the greatest firepower in the final third. Stay compact, stay tight. Kilman, Mavropanos leads that. Wan-Bissaka and Emerson contributes. And you can potentially nick a point. I think it's so important they stay defensively solid first and attacking comes second. Arsenal, though, have not lost the last 2 games between these two sides. Obviously, prior to that, a bit of bad history, a bit of a bogey team for them, West Ham. So keep an eye out for that one here in this game here. Do I see West Ham getting over the line or getting a point? I do not. I think Arsenal get the job done here. Another workmanlike performance. I'm going with an Arsenal 2-0 win once more here versus West Ham United. Another all-London affair for our next game as Fulham take on Crystal Palace. A very difficult one to call, this one here. Looking at Fulham, a massive 2-1 win in the Snapchat derby versus Nottingham Forest last time out. Getting back to their best form and playing their best football. Fulham was a great sign to see. It strengthens their great run. 4 wins from their last 5 games in all competitions. They're performing on different levels. Defensively much better. Going forward, they've been fantastic in recent weeks. And I'm looking to that forward line once again. Alex Iwobi, 7 goals, 3 assists in the Premier League this season. Adama Traore, 9 big chance created so far this season. Those two, yet again, will be so important. Versus that back 5 of Crystal Palace, that's so good defensively, that sits in nice and deep, and is built up defensive identity. Those two will be so important to break down that Crystal Palace backline. So look to those two to be the key players for Fulham. Alongside Sasa Lukic, who put up an 8.3 match rating last time out versus Nottingham Forest. He was fabulous. He led the way for that side there. He'll want to be good yet again versus a very combative Crystal Palace midfield. Palace come off the back of a disappointing 2-1 loss at home to Everton. They were competitive. They were arguably the better side for larger periods, but couldn't get over the line and convert all 3 points. They want to look to get back to winning ways. 2 losses from their last 3 games. Ends their great run of form they had coming into the new year. They want to get back to that, and we built off that defensive identity. I think that's led by Will Hughes and Jefferson Lerma in midfield. Those 2 midfielders, combative, energetic. They make it a real scrap in the centre of the park. And if they can take away Fulham's ability to possess the ball in the centre of the park, they can win the ball in the central areas and get at Fulham in transition. That's the way Crystal Palace will go about getting a result in this game here. They're built of counter-attacking football. They're built of Mateta being clinical in front of goal. So look to that to be their identity and their mindset going to this game here away at Craven Cottage. For me, it's going to be a tough game, a game of inches. As such, I'm seeing it being a draw. Fulham 1, Crystal Palace 1 is my prediction. I think nothing separates these two sides. Both good defensively, solid enough going forward. A 1-1 draw here for me. Ipswich and Tottenham is our next game here. A massive game once again for both sides in this one here for different reasons. Ipswich obviously coming off the back of that very, very important 1-1 draw away at Villa Park. It is the first point the side's picked up in their last 4 Premier League games, and since the turn of the year, it's been a real struggle. There's been improvement going forward, more goals in the side's game, but they're conceding way too many goals. So coming to this game versus a very attacking, aggressive, front-footed Tottenham side, Alex Palmer once again is going to have an absolute incredible game. 6 saves last time out versus Aston Villa. Some incredible reflex saves. He's going to be heroic yet again in this game here, keeping it, hitting the ball at the back of the net, because as much as that backline's been competitive at times this season, it just hasn't been good enough. So Alex Palmer, again, the key player going to this game versus that a very attacking Tottenham side. Obviously, Spurs picked up that mammoth win versus Manchester United, 1-0. It makes all of a sudden things look a little bit brighter at the club. Yes, nothing's really fixed, but it was a positive. Keeping a clean sheet, getting the win versus a side that's also very desperate, a tick in Ange Postecoglou's box. But it's how they can back it up versus arguably a weaker, less talented side in Ipswich here. I look at it, it's back-to-back Premier League wins for Tottenham, 3 clean sheets in the last 5 games, so things are moving in the right direction. And I think the resurgence of Jed Spence and the improvement of Pedro Porro, they're going to be important yet again. They more solid defensively. I think the most important part of those 2 players' games is going forward, providing that width, great balls into the box, competitive on the ball, dangerous on the ball. It just attracts attention away from those key attacking players and opens up spaces for like some Madison and Kulusevski to do what they do best. So those 2 will be heavily involved again. They'll be super important, covering off defensively, preventing transition, but also getting Tottenham forward and getting them on the front foot. And then also clinical finishing. Matisse Tell, Heung-min Son had to be clinical in this game here, especially early on. Try and kill this game off before half-time because we know Tottenham like to make things hard for themselves. We know the later this game goes, the more nervy they'll get, the more danger it is to dropping points or losing this game. So important they be clinical in front of goal and get those goals early. With that being said, do I see Spurs going over the line? I do, but I do just. 2-1 here away at Ipswich. It will be iconic Spurs to go and drop this game, but I think they continue their good run of form and make it 3 wins in the bounce in the Premier League. It's a South Coast battle for our next game as Southampton host Brighton. Southampton obviously going down 3-1 versus Bournemouth at home last time out. They couldn't carry over the form from that win previous at Ipswich. No clean sheet now in the last 6 games. That's been the major flaw of this side this season. 57 goals conceded, the worst in the division. Defensively, it's been all over the place. But I look at this matchup versus Brighton. Yes, they're fantastic going forward, but I think they're going to have to match them in the centre of the park. The talented players, Aribo, Ugochukwu. I think these two are the most talented. I think they're the most influential in this side. If they have a great game, have influence on the game, their fingerprints on the game, it makes Southampton competitive. So I look to those two in the midfield area, especially against a Brighton side that doesn't necessarily have the best midfielders in the 11 right now due to injuries and lack of fitness. So look to those two to be important for Southampton. I think to try and possess the ball as much as possible or be competitive versus Brighton will be the importance here because Brighton love to possess the ball. They love to go sideways. They love to keep the ball off the opposition and tire opposition out. Southampton have to match that energy. They have to match that ability in midfield as well. So it needs to be well battled in there. And Ugochukwu and Aribo are so important to that. So those two are going to be important for Southampton. Brighton come off a fantastic 3-0 win versus Chelsea. 2 wins versus Chelsea at home in the space of a few days. They want to keep on this great turn of form in the last few games. There's 8 goals scored in the last 5 games. 3 wins from the last 5 Premier League games. So improvement has been there. Obviously, that massive hiccup, that 7-0 loss at Forest around a month ago now, but they're starting to refine that confidence and refine that form. And I think it's pretty simple. It's come due to the resurgence and the finding of the wide areas once again. Yankuba Minter and Karim Matoma combined for 3 goals, all 3 goals last time out versus Chelsea, and they get a dominant win. Brighton look at their best, and yes, they possess the ball, but they play with width. They look wide. They look to play into wide areas, utilize the pace, transitional play, and that's when they get at teams. That's when they exploit spaces, and that's when they play their best football. So Yankuba Minter, Karim Matoma, Jorginho Rutter, once again, so important. Those wide players, those attacking spark players in the wide areas perform once again at a high level. So look to those two to keep bringing that energy and bring that intensity going forward. Looking at Brighton, they haven't lost their last 6 meetings versus Southampton. I can't see that record stopping here. I think it goes to 7. I've gone a Brighton 4-0 win here at Southampton. They're in some great form. They're scoring goals once again. It's looking very, very dangerous for the Southampton side. Aston Villa and Chelsea is our next game. Both these two teams battling for European football. Looking at Villa, a real tough run of form right now. They come off the back of an impressive 2-2 draw versus Liverpool, but prior to that, it's only 4 points gained from a possible 15 across their last 5 games there. It shows the struggles of the side. Again, another team that isn't quite great going forward, nor is it defensively, but the defensive problems have been the biggest for me. No clean sheet in their last 8 games. It's far from that free-flowing side which you saw last season, which they were keeping clean sheets. I mean, Martinez fantastic in goal, and their transitional play and ball playing was tip-top. Neither of that is really showing this season. They're trying to refine that, and I think it's going to be really, really important they find it soon because they're slipping away from those European positions this season in the Premier League. Look at this game. I think the new players, the fresh faces, Marco Asensio, Marcus Rashford, I'm looking at those players to try and make the difference here. You got a very vulnerable Chelsea backline, a Chelsea that is also not very good defensively as well. The trickery of Rashford, the direct nature of Marcus Rashford, the smarts of Marco Asensio could be the difference here to break apart that Chelsea backline and get this Aston Villa side on the front foot, scoring goals early and dominating a game of football. It feels like each of their games in the past 5 or 6 have been playing catch-up or starting slow and building into it. They haven't hit the ground running in a game yet, and those two can bring that energy from the start. So whether they start or not, when they're on the pitch, I think they have to make an impact from minute 1, and that's going to be the difference for Aston Villa. They need that energy, they need that incisiveness in their attacking play, which has really been lacking this season. Looking at Chelsea, And that 3-0 loss away to Brighton at home last time out. 2 wins from their last 5 games in all competitions. It feels like they've hit a brick wall since December. It's really, really poor. They conceded 10 goals in their last 5 games. No clean sheet now in 6 games. And you look at the problem, it's at both ends of the park. Cole Palmer, only 1 goal in his last 5 games. I think he has to be the key player for Chelsea. They need almost resuscitation. They need some energy. They need to be zapped back to life. And Cole Palmer can be that player to just bring a resurgence, bring some energy and some confidence to this side. You know, Sancho being poor, Neto poor, Madueke poor. Obviously, Nicholas Jackson, we know the problems he's had. The midfield, Enzo and Caicedo haven't been that same too, which we saw from November, December. So Cole Palmer has to lift this side up yet again, like he did a lot last season. It's going to have to be him yet again here. Dangerous in that final third, taking out the defenders there. We're looking at Tyrone Mings and a replacement centre-half. I don't know who's available to play there, but it's going to be someone out of position. So he's going to have to be that guy, I think. He'll be the guy to get this Chelsea side going, attack that Aston Villa backline, and give energy back to this Chelsea side because they seem flat at this current point in time. We look at the result. I can't really separate these two sides here. Not good enough going forward. Pretty poor both sides defensively. I've got a 2-2 draw. I think we'll get one of the most entertaining games from the weekend coming from this game here. Both sides, I can't really separate them as such. A 2-2 draw here for me. Newcastle and Nottingham Forest is one of the more entertaining games coming from the weekend, and they're up in our next game here. Newcastle obviously well beaten last time out 4-0 by Manchester City, and the momentum of the side has truly slowed. 3 losses in their last 4 Premier League games. Obviously ends that historic run they were making of 9 Premier League wins in a row. Ever since that Bournemouth result, it's been very hit or miss for Newcastle, and it's been a symbol of their season, hot and cold through different periods. But this is a great chance to bounce back at home versus a very, very dangerous Nottingham Forest side. It's 9 goals in the last 5 games in all competitions. But for me, the problem has been defensively. Not solid enough. They lost that identity they found again this season. 2 years ago, it was built on defence. Last year, they went away from that. They struggled. They were doing great to the midpoint of the season because they were built on defence, Newcastle. And yet again, they've gone away from that. So I'm looking at Fabian Schär. I'm looking to Burn. I'm looking to Livramento, Trippier, Lewis Hall. As a back four, perform well together. It's been too patchy with the fullbacks only performing well, or only the centre-backs performing well. We haven't seen a complete 90-minute performance from the full back four. It's going to be so important they all perform well in this game here. Nottingham Forest are a very, very dangerous side. They're electric in transition. That back four ain't at it. You saw what happened versus Bournemouth. You'll get the better of, you'll lose the game, you'll lose momentum, and all of a sudden it's turning into a really tough spot to be this season. So important that back four is at it for minute 1, supported obviously by that combative midfield. Those 7 players, the 3 midfielders and the 4 at the back, have to be at it for minute 1. You can't start slow versus Nottingham Forest, otherwise they'll blow you out the water. Looking out for us, they need to bounce back themselves, dropping 3 points away to Fulham, that 2-1 loss there. Despite being the 3rd best away record in the league, they've lost consecutive away games, and that form is starting to slow. The confidence and the vibes around Nottingham Forest starting to slow a little bit. Don't get me wrong, I'm not off their bandwagon yet, but we're seeing some signs of cracks developing. And then I think when you come to this game here at a hostile environment, you go back to the basics. Mirilla and Milenkovic, keep it compact. We want to see more clean sheets, be that rocks which the side is built upon. And then going forward in transition on the break, the creators like Antti Elanga and Morgan Gibbs-White. If those 4 players are playing well at both ends of the park, Nottingham Forest get the result. But if they're slightly off, if they're defended out of the game or not getting enough touch of the football, I don't know if they can go to a hostile environment like Newcastle and get the result. I am backing those players in, though, to be involved and be a key figure in this game because I'm backing Nottingham Forest in. Gone with a 2-1 Forest win here away from home. A massive win for them. Consolidates their Champions League spot for this season. That brings us to the big game. Man City hosts Liverpool, the 2 giants of the last 5 years in the Premier League, face off yet again. And again, another team chasing a title, another team trying to stop them. This case is Liverpool going for the title, Man City trying to stop them. City, off the back of that 4-0 fantastic win last week in the Premier League, they look to be back. Then they drop these a massive game, the Champions League, get bounced out by Real Madrid. It's really been a symbol of their season. You think they're back, then they're not. You think they're back, then they're not. I expect another bounce-back performance in this game here. And with that being said, though, with them being so up and down, they've still had the 3rd best home record in the Premier League. 3 consecutive wins at home going into this game here. So that's some confidence for the side. That's some belief they can have in their unit. They're still averaging the 2.1 goals per game despite being so inconsistent. So the attacking play is their bright spark. And I think in this game here, Omar Marmoush is going to be that man. I say his name a lot. I like him a lot. But going up against Trent Alexander-Arnold, coming off a hat-trick in the Premier League, it seems like he's ready to explode. And to beat his, I guess, direct comparison to Mohamed Salah, I think he'll be up for the occasion. So look to him to cause havoc. If Trent gets caught out of position, Marmoush's pace, his smarts to run in behind and get in that space, boy, it could be a really, really long day for Liverpool if they're not careful with Omar Marmoush. And equally so is Gonzalez in midfield. To be that physical presence, to match the intensity and energy of that Liverpool midfield, he's going to have to perform at his tip-top best. We didn't see it midweek in the Champions League. He has to bounce back in this game here. Physicality is a big thing. Be a physical presence, throw your body around. You can make it a tough game for the Liverpool midfielders who are so important to their system. Looking at Liverpool, they slipped up once more. A 2-2 draw away at Villa Park midweek. And they drew, then won, then drew again. Dropping more points to keep it interesting for Arsenal. So they need to really get back to winning ways in this game here. Obviously, they're yet to lose away from home this season, but 3 draws in their last 5 away games is worrying for the side. They're not putting teams away. They're not continually winning games of football. And when I look at it, only 1 clean sheet kept in the last 5 games. I go to it yet again. At the start of the season, Liverpool looked fantastic because they weren't conceding goals. They were keeping clean sheets. Van Dijk's been fantastic, but Konate has to lift. Hasn't been at his best in recent times. Slightly off it. Not that physical bruising presence, not snapping into tackles and winning the ball. So he has to improve in this game here. He's such an important figure for this Liverpool side. And then obviously going up top, Mohamed Salah loves a big game, loves big goals. He's got 11 goal contributions in his last 7 games. He's going to be pivotal to get at this Man City side who struggled defensively. If Mohamed Salah can get off the leash, Liverpool win this game and win it quite comfortably. With that being said, who do I see winning this massive game? I think Liverpool get it done. They have to get it done. Man City are coming off that midweek Champions League tie. Obviously, so is Liverpool with a midweek Premier League game. But Man City have to travel from Spain. Liverpool desperately need a result. They need a bounce back, and I think they will in this game here. I think it's going to be chaotic. I think it's going to be crazy. Got a Liverpool 3-2 win here at the Etihad in the final game of the weekend to keep their title hopes well and truly alive. With that being said, ladies and gents, that brings prediction video to an end for Match Week 26. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What's your favourite game from the weekend? Who's the key players from the weekend? What are your thoughts on my predictions? Let me know that in the comment section down below. As I said before at the start of the video, please, if you want to support the channel and join the exclusive Starting 11 new membership here on YouTube, press that join button down there next to the subscribe button. That'd be much appreciated to support this channel as it continues to grow. If you enjoy the video though, smash a like on it, subscribe to the Players Zone channel if you're new around here, and press that post notification bell so you know we upload videos, podcasts here on the channel. Hope you have a great day, guys. Enjoy the upcoming football action, and I'll see you guys in another video very, very soon. Next time, guys. See you later.